And hello again, and here I am in the back of my garage with my green Kawasaki Z650 project, which as you can see is still without an engine. And that's okay because I knew the engine build would take a long time, so this bike has been sitting here for several months, pretty much with its rolling chassis completed, just waiting for the engine build to begin. However, there are still a couple of small jobs I need to do with this bike, and the first one of those is to replace this little bolt, which is all rusty and tattered and the threads gone on it, and that bolt holds on the side stand, and the side stand wasn't very secure, so I decided to replace this. So I bought myself a new one, and it doesn't fit, or it didn't fit, the frame, because it turns out I think this frame's been perhaps tapped out at some point in the past when the thread on the frame probably got worn, so somebody tapped it out, and now a standard bolt doesn't fit anymore. And so it took quite a while to do, but we made a brand new bolt, and this is going to be the side stand which will fit to the bike. That's why it's all nicely painted, unlike this temporary one that's on the bike at the moment. And this bolt hasn't been bought, it's been made from hex bar, and you know, it looks pretty damn good. We made it a bit long so I can put a nylon nut on the backside of the bolt so that it is nice and secure on the bike. And this has taken quite a while to do because we had to find the stainless steel hex bar, then we had to go and buy, or I had to go and buy, a suitable die to cut this fine 12mm thread on the bolt. But that's done now, so that can go on the bike today. And then the next job was to replace these rather tatty, rusty engine bolts which bolt the engine to the frame. And in fact, some of these weren't even the correct bolts. One of them in particular was threaded all the way down, which is completely incorrect and obviously not the correct part for the bike. So what we've done is we've taken some 10mm stainless bar and threaded it at both ends, and now I've got a hex nut on the end, which I'm going to have welded to the end of the bar, and then we'll skim the end and it'll look just like an original part. But of course it's stainless steel and it'll never go rusty. I'm just waiting to get one more bolt back from Jeff because we made it a bit too long, which I knew about. So now I've tried it on the bike, it's going to lose about 5mm to be absolutely perfect. Get that on the bike, make sure it's fine, and then all of these new engine bolts can go off to be welded, skimmed, and that's another job completed. Right, so we've got a piece of 10mm stainless steel bar here that Jeff's now cut back down to size that we need, and he's going to start to machine it down and then put a thread on the end. And to put a thread on the end of that stainless steel bar, we use this die here. So you've made, Jeff, this holder.
Yeah, I've made a couple, because lo and behold, people are making these dies with different outside diameters.
Yes, so your die holder doesn't fit.
Yeah, so some are not common.
Yeah, so you've got get that in there with a little spring.
I found a couple of old 6mm screws. Yeah, I was waiting for my new ones to arrive, but I've taken some out of another thing.
And you've now come up with another idea, which I've got in my hand here.
Yeah.
Which is this little bit of brass that you found somewhere.
It's just a little block of brass or machined.
And what's this going to be?
Hey, well, I've got a 10mm bolt.
Yes.
It's got a bit of a thread on it.
Yes.
Drill down it 4mm.
Yeah.
And there's a hole drilled in it sideways.
Oh right, so there's a hole down there.
Yeah, when you drop that in there.
Yeah. Cunning plan.
What it is, you fill it up with oil.
Yes,
and it runs onto the thingy.
Onto the thread.
Saves you stopping and to keep squirting oil on it, and hopefully
give you a better cut. And also, I mean, if
you're using cutting oil constantly on your tool, it will prolong the life.
Yeah, which is good because that die is a German die, cost me 25 quid, so hopefully we want it to last a bit longer yet. We've got some more threads to cut on these things.
Well, the greatest thing is what I did. I've got a little. Well, what I could do with is a dish. What it does, it rests just on the thingy like that underneath.
Yes. So as the oil is used,
so as it's dripping out, it's obviously the swarf goes in, but then
you can
eventually you can strain it out and just
reuse it.
Yeah.
And why not?
Because that cutting threading oil, I think it's about 40 quid a gallon.
Oh yeah, don't waste it.
So,
right, so what you're doing now is you're just going to square off the end of that.
I wanted just to trim the ends off and just put a little lead on them and then thread them.
Okay, brilliant.
So if you can bear with us.
Oh yes, yes, I shall bear with you.
And then just put like a 45 on them, because I think they're usually, the dies are usually leading teeth are cut at 45, so it gives it a
good start.
A good start, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Right, so we're now going to cut the thread. So do you need that? You need that once you're set up.
Well, I can put that in, yeah, and it'll just run. As long as the hole goes forward. I thought if it goes in, the oil will squirt, you know.
Yes, yes.
So,
where's your oil? That's all there is.
So what I need to do
is pour in some machine oil. Oh, it's all dripping out quick. And then away we go.
Bloody hell. I'll have to top it up, but
it's okay, it's working well.
Yeah. See, this is it. I've got to keep the tailstock square. I don't want it to tip, you see.
Yes.
Because it's nipped. It's just nipped, and
it's cutting quite well, though.
Yeah. See how it's run out now.
Yeah, it's okay.
And see, I don't want that overflow.
No,
going in with the thingy oil. Well, that's working.
Working very well. Well, do you want me to hold one end of it or turn that? And
see, what I could do with is one of them under there, and
yes. Yeah, there you go.
It might be coming. You probably could have done the whole of it
bit too big, aye.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's working.
But it don't matter as long as that's
you can reuse the oil, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Once you've filtered it.
You see, I know it's getting 100% of it, as much, you know.
Yeah.
Oil on the job. It's just stopped there now. What I'll do, I'll tip that in there.
Yeah. And the swarf stays behind, hopefully.
I'll just leave it in there like that.
Yeah.
This is what...
Waste not, want not. Because you say that's like, what is it, £40 a gallon?
It was about £40 a gallon, yeah.
Yeah, don't
I bought it ages ago.
Yeah. It's working very well, isn't it? It's cutting well. It's,
you see, you can keep going like that because it's got plenty of oil.
Yeah, good idea.
Even...
You could have done with making a bigger bowl, couldn't you?
Well, I know that. Well, I think I'll have to just make the hole a bit big. Maybe 1/8 of an inch would have been better.
Yeah, Mark II version.
But, well, this is when you're doing stuff. You don't know, to get something right first
time. Oil, it would be, you know.
Hey?
Use thicker oil, but then again, it wouldn't.
Well, no, it's. Here
we go. And so now here we are back home again, and so that's the way we cut the thread on these rather hard stainless steel 10mm bars. So the next step is to have a 10mm fine threaded nut welded on the end of each one of them. Once that's been done, we can take it back to Jeff's workshop. He can skim it on the lathe and hopefully it'll look pretty much OE, except of course it's stainless steel and never go rusty. And so that's what's next. And so now I'm just back from Jeff the Welder's workshop, where he welded on the stainless steel hex nuts on the end of these rods. So with that done, these hex nuts can now be skimmed on a lathe and cleaned up until they look pretty much original. And so that's what's next. However, since I've got one fairly short engine bolt here from the Mark II project, rather than wait to take all these to Jeff's workshop to put them on the lathe, instead I used my poor man's lathe, my hand drill here. So what I did was I popped it in the drill, like so, spun it round and then held the end of the nut against some wet and dry sandpaper of various grades and cleaned up the end. And the end result is actually quite similar to what we'd get if we put it on the lathe. So no doubt you can't really see it from where you are, so I'll take a photograph now and show you how this looks, and I must say it's pretty good, particularly when you realise that I originally had these old rusty bolts which weren't even the correct ones for the bike. So yeah, I'm quite impressed with that. I can't do the rest of the engine bolts with the hand drill because they're just too long. It will just flop around and wouldn't work too well, but at least I've done one. So yeah, I will get the rest done in a few days time, next time I go and see Jeff, because right now he's busy, I'm busy, and we just don't have time to sort this out. But I did want to show you at least one of these in its finished state at the end of the video. So yeah, I think that's quite a worthwhile job, quite long-winded admittedly, but we got there in the end. And now of course I've got a full set of stainless steel engine bolts for the Kawasaki Z650 behind me, and also the Mark II in front of me, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's a job done. Well, almost done. So that's that. So thanks for watching, and cheers.